Welcome back to Hashes and Numbers. I'm Thomas. I'm here with my co-host,
Justin?
and today we're going to be breaking down the divisional round and some of the stuff we saw, some of the unfortunate injuries that have occurred, and what we look forward to in this championship game. Um,
Yeah.
Ready? All right. So we'll
Mhm.
start off in the AFC where the Buffalo Bills travel into Denver in a great game, back and forth game. Game goes into overtime, but unfortunately for the Bills and Josh Allen, right, there was a late interception, one controversial interception, right? And then the Broncos go down the field after some unfortunate injury that we're going to talk about later, and then some calls that were iffy, right? The Broncos
Mhm.
get going and they kick the game-winning field goal. So, what are your thoughts on that game as a whole?
I mean, yeah, the Buffalo Bills lose to another AFC West team, which is, a shocker. And the Buffalo Bills, I'll go with them first. Josh Allen played well with like low tier wide receiver, I would say. They're not a top tier. I
Mhm.
mean, Josh Allen had two iffy interception and one turnover in the closing half where he ch was trying to run, and then he just fumbled and then gave up a field goal to the Broncos, which helped the Broncos a lot. And the rushing side, James Cook. I said, if the Buffalo Bills want to have a chance, they're gonna have to establish the run where James Cook was able to do that. And for the Broncos, Bo Nix, he's a dog, but it's just very unfortunate. His second year is, coming to an end with a like very bad injury, and he'll miss the whole season this season, which is very unfortunate. But I'd say he genuinely played better than, Josh Allen, he outplayed him. And for the running side, there is no rushing upside for this team at all. This game was it's very worrying just because like against the Patriots, will they be able to like, pass the ball with Stidham? But yeah, just shout out to the Broncos offensively and defensively for creating turnovers when needed.
I think that's a big key in this game. Josh Allen had four turnovers, right? One of them being a very crucial right before the half to set up a field goal for the Broncos, right? And that 3 points could have been the difference in regulation, but instead it went to overtime, right? And then the interception in overtime. For the Bills, right? This is just
Yeah.
unfortunate. No Lamar, no Joe Burrow, no Patrick Mahomes, right? This was your chance to make the Super Bowl, and you spoiled it. You feel for Josh, right? He has the most wins in the playoffs without making a Super Bowl with eight. No one else has more than five. So yeah, I feel for Josh Allen a little bit, right? It's no one's fault but his own and the team's fault, right? They fired Sean McDermott today, kind of as a scapegoat, in my opinion. I think McDermott's done a really good job getting them to the playoffs, just not able to kind of break through with the Chiefs, right? With the Ravens loss and now with the Broncos loss. Um, and I just think, for the Bills, there's gonna be like, what's next? What's like, who's the coach that can really get them over the top? And I'm interested to see who they decide that is. And for the Broncos, right? You kind of mentioned it's really unfortunate that Bo Nix did get hurt in this game. It would have set up a really good one seed versus two seed, in the AFC for the chance to go to the Super Bowl. But now you have Jared Stidham, who um, how he goes. Um, and I think this is gonna be really interesting because this is the first time the Broncos have really had this deep of a chance since Peyton Manning, right? So I'm interested to see how this turns out, how the fan base looks at this, right? Because on one hand, you got here. On the other hand, you lost your quarterback for the year. So that's something I'm intrigued. Um, but we can move on to the next game. The Seahawks take care of the Niners. Niners coming in banged up. And after the first, the kickoff, the Seahawks really poured it on. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, you said it. Kick return first play with Rashid Shaheed. That set up the momentum a lot. I mean, for the 49ers in general, Brock Purdy did not look great at all this game with all the pressure coming towards him. And CMC, he got injured this game. I don't know how bad it was because I turned it off in fourth quarter. But yeah, he also struggled this game. Like the other game against Seattle in week 18, right? Yeah. And yeah, this Niners offense just looks like they're struggling a lot against the Seahawks, where they can score any touchdown in a quarter. Yeah, just last game and this game. And for the Seahawks, Sam Darnold plays consistent. I mean, he didn't play good, but he did just enough. But once again, K9 had a very good game. Zach Charbonnet, unfortunately, he got injured. He's very good running back. I think K9 is gonna get more touches now, which, I mean, I think I'll be fine with it just because K9 is a dog. But yeah, this offense could be very good at running or very good at passing. So it's very like hard to guard and against a very good top tier D line.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it. I think the story of this game is the defense for the Seahawks, right? Brock Purdy was in pressure like for a lot of this game, and without your top receivers, right? George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk from a season ago, you're kind of facing you're looking at like really Superman like level play from Purdy, and unfortunately in this game it was just not enough, right? The D line for the Seahawks got after him, couple forced a couple of turnovers, or the special teams made a good play. So I think for the Niners, just getting here, beating the Eagles was a really great win. But I think that in the line here, there's nothing to hang your hat on. They're really injured in this season, and you look at the future of this 49ers team and you wonder, can they run it back, right? Seems he's getting older, Kittle's getting older, Warner's coming off a leg injury. So we'll see how the Niners attack it, but it's gonna be a great NFC West. And for the Seahawks, right, Sam Darnold coming in with an oblique injury, right? The biggest worry was what would happen if he had to throw all game long. Well, he didn't have to, right? He got to rest um, he got rest for a majority of the second half, right? He
Yeah.
had one attempt, basically after like the halfway mark of the third quarter. So not having to throw, only throwing 17 times, right? Being able to lean on Kenneth Walker in the running game. Big game for Kenneth Walker with the Charbonnet injury. Charbonnet um, out with a torn ACL out for the rest of the year. Unfortunate for Charbonnet, but it's going to open up the door for Walker. A lot of people have been saying Walker should get more touches in this offense. We're going to see what happens when he's the lead back. It's going to be really interesting to see. Yeah, I'm excited for what's to come in this NFC Championship game. We'll
Yeah.
head back to the AFC for the early game on Sunday, where the Patriots just stifled the Texans. CJ Stroud had four interceptions. Just not great showing for this Houston offense, and it wastes what's pretty good performance from this Texans defense, and the Patriots take this victory. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it all. Just CJ Stroud. He threw for 212 yard, but at end of the day, he had four interception, which is too much to overcome. And I mean, if CJ Stroud didn't throw any pick, I think they would have won this game, but we'll never know. Woody Marks got shut down this game against this Patriots D line, but just in general, I didn't know that Patriots D line is this like very good. And yeah, for the Texas offense, going back at it, they lost Dalton Schultz and they also lost Nico Collins last game, which played a huge factor for CJ Stroud in my opinion. But these defensively, they're top tier. Their D line was getting into Drake May. Their secondary was also playing good to strip sack Drake May a lot and force a turnover. But at the end of the day, Drake May played just good enough, three touchdown, but the interception that won the game.
Yeah, this is another game where Drake May did not have his greatest game, but it didn't matter because of the Patriots defense. May, he had four total fumbles, lost two of them, and he did have an interception as well. But he threw three touchdowns, and when it mattered the most, Drake May got it done. Putting up 21 points offensively for the Patriots was enough to beat this Texans team. Texans had a historical defense this year, and it's a shame that what it kind of got wasted by this ending for CJ Stroud, it's gonna be, I'm intrigued to see how he's looked at because on one hand, right, they've made the playoffs all the years he's been in the NFL, but on the other hand, they've had some bad losses in the playoffs, and it just seems like CJ Stroud hasn't progressed to like that elite level. So, it's gonna be, with a great defense, you want a guy who just doesn't turn the ball over, kind of like a game manager. As much as people hate on, Brock Purdy or some of the other guys like Jared Goff for being a game manager, right? Not turning the ball over here might have been enough to get it done, and we didn't see that because CJ Stroud turned it over 4 times. And yeah, well, I trust the Texans to be back with their defense, but CJ Stroud's the big question mark going into next year. And this Patriots team,
Mhm.
right? They're going up against the Broncos. We're gonna do the preview in a couple days, but early insights, right? Many people are just not happy, are kind of just, disappointed that the Patriots run this year, if they make the Super Bowl, will be the easiest schedule in NFL history, right? A Texans team without Nico Collins, and then the Broncos team without their quarterback. But you can only play who's on your schedule. You don't control the injuries through the Patriots, so it'll be key for them to take care of business, and not suffer a loss to Jared Stidham. But for this Patriots team, I do see a Super Bowl run possible, right? I think this team is good enough, despite all the easy factors or whatever. I think this team is a capable team to win the Super Bowl, even when they go into the when they go to the Super Bowl. I think they definitely have a contender to win. This isn't like a, oh, the AFC is a cookie, right? You do have the potential there. And Drake May, he has played like an MVP for most of the year, so I'm not gonna be surprised if that happens.
Yeah.
And the last game on the slate, another great game, another one that went overtime. The Rams traveled to Chicago, and it was what a good defensive fest in the cold. Ultimately, one defense came out ahead, and the Rams came out with a last-second field goal to win it. As a Bears fan, I'll let you have the floor here. What are your thoughts on the Bears, this year, the Bears in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Stafford, he was maintained. Kyron Williams, he had a pretty huge game where he had two touchdowns and he was a playmaker or he was like a leader for this offense in this game where I feel like he set the tone offensively and it was this is pretty shocking, but Puka Nakua, we all thought he was gonna have a huge game, but he was just limited to 56 yards. Devontae Adams was limited to 24 yards, which was a very good job from the Bears defense. And then offensively for the Bears, Caleb Williams just had three interceptions, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, I think the Bears defense, they played more than well enough to win this game. And for most of this game, I would say the offense of the Bears wasn't like up to par. I think if you were to look at this team, which side you thought would collapse against the Rams, I think people would definitely think the defense would have a hard time stopping the Rams. But you know, I think the defense played more than well enough in this game. I give heavy shout out to the Bears for this season as well. This is a team who seemed to never give up, even when it came down to it most. Caleb Williams made a play to score to tie this game up, and people are going to say, why didn't they go for two? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? I just think at the end of the day, the Rams just made one or two more plays than the Bears did, and it cost the Bears. But I think for this Bears team, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I think they're going to be back. In an NFC North that you're starting to see who's there in the NFC North, and the Bears, if they continue their good contracts, good signing, good drafting, I don't think this team's going to be one and done. I think this team definitely has a chance to continue this run for the playoffs. And then for the Rams, right? Um, Matthew Stafford did not have the greatest game, but he led them down when needed. Kyron Williams leaned on the run game a lot in this game. 21 carries, 87 yards. Pretty good game from Kyron. Um, and the defense of the Rams, right? They came up clutch. Kobe Durant with two interceptions. You know, during the game, you knew the interceptions were going to come back to haunt the going to come back to haunt the Bears, and they led to two, or they led to one touchdown, and then it led to the field goal to ultimately end the game. So I think big shout out to Cam Curl for the interception, making a great play on that play. And the Rams coming to Seattle for a big NFC Championship game. It's going to be, I mean, I think they're the two best teams in the league this year, and we'll see, right? I've been really high on the Rams, despite them being a division rival with the Seahawks. Right. I've been saying this Rams team is the best team in the NFL on paper. We'll see how it goes in this game. Any closing thoughts on this game or any other game?
Yeah, shout out to the defense, that has been struggling the whole year. Yeah.
hmm With that being said, thank you guys for listening. Pretty short one today. We'll have a longer one in the preview. I'll have something set up for the game on Wednesday. Just I feel like this game, the four slate of games were really good this weekend, other than the Seahawks game, and I think we're gonna get a good championship round. We will see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.